Abusiani kuma o channel so hasi GH Politics Avenue. Podcast ro se twani ambe ko zimi ke headlines ne demre na idibi exomo enra OSP ebe kasai na okasa edifa aye Aksa energy deal ne ho onua na the most scary aspect ne say obobon kofo bi din ewo ma wose omu eye persons of interest a onua mene okasa kuku dam din pie mu no enye asem koto akra na mesho ko se yimo ransim nim na yenhwe amanyoni a wo Ghana asia oye top notch ono so e be extradite no based on Aksa energy yimo ransim AG Baptist Avenue
Tail is on this Aksa deal and the scandal that broke out as a result of the revelations we got from the transcript from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, of which the OSP indicated today, as has always been the position, that they provided evidential support to the FBI in investigating this matter, right? These are the amounts involved as per the transcripts that we got earlier. And when Kweko Asante Beko was convicted, some 1.5 million transferred to some consulting company, 250,000 to one person described as Ghana official one, 25,000 for the 5 persons, each of them, who traveled to Turkey. We've been asking questions. Who are these 5 people? Everybody we actually, they were not part of the trip, right? So that's one matter as well that will be of key interest to the special prosecutor and other bodies that will be charged to investigate this matter in country, that's in Ghana. $20,000 for the mentions for PRC and other persons, great go up the power team. And this, you recall, this matter of the power team as well, and then some of the individuals that were mentioned in here. Prior to the Office Special Prosecutor mentioning some of these names as we're getting to know today, we'd here at TV3, the research desk, that's Wisdom Self and the rest of the team, had already been combing through some publicly available information. We mapped out some persons, if you've been following us on this matter, who we described as also the decision makers or persons of interest. These are not suspects, and the OSP took some time to explain that, and we'll get some legal understanding of it. Asante Kweko Beko is the man at the center of all of this, and making this particular position clear to the U.S. authorities, monies that he said and confirmed that he paid to these people mentioned. And also this man, Dr. Kwabena Donkor, who was at around that time when this deal was taking place, the power minister. And also this man, he was the deputy power minister at the time, but he's publicly stated that he was not at any point involved heavily in this particular deal, and much of it was handled by his boss. Then there is this Francis W.K. Jatta, technical advisor to the Minister of Power in 2015. It's a contemporary parliamentary records. We've seen also from other emergency power transactions confirmed that he actually worked closely with Dr. Kwabena Donkor at the time, involved directly in technical power negotiations. Take note of these names because the OSP as well, sort of corroborates some of these names that we put out earlier as these persons of interest, or the persons who also, had one thing or the other to do with this. They have the names that were mentioned in the transcripts, the Ministry of Power girls, the girls who were said to have received some $30,000 in total for giving information to these people who were brokering the deal. These were said to be ladies who were working in the Ministry of Power. There's also another issue that will be of interest to the special prosecutor. But the names and of persons that the special prosecutor says are persons of interest in this particular deal. He mentioned at the press conference today. I want to play back that part of exactly what Kessie Jabin said regarding this Aksa deal and what the OSP is going to do. Take a look.
In connection with the development and financing of a 370 megawatt fuel oil plant in Tema, Ghana, under a deal between the Republic of Ghana and Aksa Energy Uratim, a Turkish energy company, and a Goldman Sachs client. The OSP provided investigation and evidentiary assistance to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, of the United States through Ghana's established mutual legal assistance framework. The involvement of the OSP has been acknowledged by the United States Department of Justice, DOJ, as providing significant assistance to the prosecution. Even with this, people say, we claim it is always the OSP. The conviction underscores the importance of international cooperation in the investigation and prosecution of complex corrupt acts spanning multiple jurisdictions. Predictably, the outcome of the trial of Beekun in the United States ignited immense public interest and discourse on the domestic dimension of the investigation in Ghana. We wish to state clearly that the OSP's work on the matter did not end with the assistance provided to the authorities in the United States. We have been actively and carefully investigating the Ghanaian dimension. I say carefully because it must always be borne in mind that a conviction of a person in a foreign jurisdiction does not, of itself and without more, establish criminal liability under Ghanaian law or justify the immediate prosecution of other persons in Ghana connected with the underlying conduct. Each person's act must be assessed under Ghanaian law, using lawfully obtained evidence capable of supporting a prosecution here. The nature of the evidence and the applicable law determine whether prosecution should be commenced in Ghana or otherwise. That is to say, the conviction of Asante Kwaku Beekun in the United States does not provide automatic basis for the prosecution of identified persons who acted with him under Ghanaian law. The circumstances of the case are such that the actions of Beekun may not necessarily establish culpability in other persons under Ghanaian law. The OSP will not prosecute a person solely on the basis that a person's name appears in proceedings conducted in another country. Equally, the OSP will not hesitate to prosecute such persons where the evidence establishes a proper basis for so proceeding. As I stated earlier, we have been carefully investigating the Ghana dimension, and our public silence has not meant inaction. Our involvement with the case and the evidence so far enable us to identify the following as the main persons of interest in this case. 1, Kwabena Donko, who was at all times the Minister of Power. 2, Francis Walkson Kwesi Jata, at all times the technical advisor to the Minister of Power. 3, Solomon Ajete Sowa, at all times a deputy director at the Ministry of Power. Lyndon George Nisor Metal, at all times a director at Tricop Group Limited. And Bafo Ankuma Brobe, at all times an employee at Tricop Group Limited. These are our persons, our main persons of interest for the time being. Other persons of interest include some present and former employees of Volta River Authority, Ghana Great Company Limited, Electricity Company of Ghana, Public Utilities and Regulatory Commission, and some staff of the entity formerly known as the Ministry of Power. Please bear in mind, and this point should be strongly emphasized, that the person of interest is not necessarily a suspect.
So that's the point that the OSP ends on. These names that he mentioned, and we're going to put out on the screen right now, are persons of interest, and some institutions he mentions as well, past and present staff, ECG, Gridco, PLC, for Power Ministry, and a number of them that he puts out there. And this is why I bring in Martin Pebo, his private legal practitioner. Counsel, good evening. Thank you for joining us. And I want to start from where the OSP ended, that these persons are persons of interest and not suspects. There's a clear legal distinction between the two terminologies, is it not?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes, a person of interest is different from a suspect. So a person of interest is one that the law enforcement agency have reason to believe that the person is connected with an offense, okay, or has information concerning the offense. but they are not certain that he actually committed it. So once they are not certain, they don't name him as a suspect. No, because remember, it's only based on certain facts. They believe he's connected or he has information. So the person may be coming to give you information that may help in the investigations. So if that person is already termed a suspect from day one, it may reduce or erode the kind of cooperation the person may want to give. Yeah, because if you say the person is a suspect, and all the rules begin to kick in, which is that you would caution him, you would take a statement on caution, etc. And then that what the rules are that there is no obligation on him to give you any information. It's your duty to find all the evidence, take him to court, and then have the prosecution done. So that's why I think, yes, it's a strategic move by the OSP to call those persons of interest so that the investigations can be gone on. It's okay. Look, the people who have reservations, I think they should calm down. Let's just rather watch closely. And me, I always say it's because of things like this that the Supreme Court held in the Noah Adamte case that the Attorney General should supervise the special prosecutor. So once Ayine is involved as a supervisor, for me, I'm calm. There's no cause for alarm. No, Ayine that I know, he knows he has a reputation to keep. So he will not allow anything to be done under him that tomorrow when he's not Attorney General, he cannot defend. So I think we should allow the special prosecutor to go on. And then, of course, because what else can we do? The thing is that, I've always said that I'd lost trust in him because this very case, he was not reporting on it. He was not reporting on it. I call it suppression until this American conviction came that he's been forced to go back to it. That's how come I like also the fact that Raymond Archer is involved. Iyoko is investigating some parts of it. So that's good. So you have Attorney General Dominic Ayine supervising both, and you have Raymond Archer. So I have hope. I think we should let the system run its course.
But you talk about the system running its course. Katie Hammond, who was a member, in fact, the ranking on the Energy Committee, that's the Mines and Energy Committee, at the time when this deal was approved by Parliament, and according to Ben Boachi of Africa Center for Energy Policy, the committee took just a day, to consider all of this at the committee level, transferred it to the plenary. It was quite fast, and he raised questions about that. A major issue like this, they thought it could have spent quite some time to get into it. But Katie Hammond is now the lawyer for Dr. Kwabena Donkor, who has been mentioned as a person of interest here. He takes issue with the special prosecutor coming out today to mention the name of his client as a person of interest when there hasn't been any communication whatsoever to him. I want us to take a listen to what Katie Hammond said on CTFM earlier today. Take a look.
I haven't spoken to my client yet. I'm not too sure whether he himself has heard anything said about him. But for the purpose of this conversation, can I just put it on record that, as we've always maintained, we don't have any difficulty if anybody wants to investigate any matter. What I deprecate is this habit of announcements on the radios and the phones and the press conferences. It's completely unprofessional. I believe there's an issue for which an investigative officer or office in the country wants to take up. I mean, by all means, yes. But what is this habit of radio discussion, press conferences? I, the lawyer, haven't been contacted. I'm not sure my client has been contacted, because if he has, he obviously will speak to me. I have no information about anything. And then he goes on a press conference and announces that this person is a person of interest. What kind of professional life is that? The person of first interest is my client, and I would expect that he expects some protection. That protection is afforded by the law, by the Constitution. Is afforded to he himself. I do not understand that the public interest. We keep saying that the public would be interested in all matters, but still all matters that are of public interest. Invite my client. He would tell me. We will make ourselves available for you. Then find out from us whatever it is that we know about.
Well, so that's Katie Amon there. And Lawyer he says the special prosecutor putting out this at the press conference as unprofessional. Did the OSP do anything wrong, in your view, addressing the press today and putting out this information on the persons of interest, including his client, Dr. Kwabena Donkor, that he mentioned?
No, I wouldn't say so, because you see, the OSP has its own procedures, okay? So you have the LI 2473, 2474, right? And the other one. So you see, they have the procedures that when a case, either they themselves have seen it and have taken interest, or a petition addressed to them, they open a zero file and then commence investigations, etc. Long story short, knowing that Ghanaians are very vigilant people, I think that the special prosecutor would have thought carefully about it before coming to name the persons. It's in our public interest. You see, the act itself, as I say, we're beginning to see problems with it, but not to make this conversation long. For me, reading the act, within the spirit of the act, it's okay that they've been named. Yes, they've been named. I know some people who say no, wait till the half-yearly reports, etc. No, that's not how the special prosecutor office has operated. We can't wait to only hear from the special prosecutor twice a year. As a society, we've accepted that information is a very strong currency of our democracy. So we are always at the doorsteps of public institutions asking for information. So this Katie Amon's argument will not fly. Our society is changed. Let's remember, and please, Mr. Kansi, let's begin to drum it home, that the game is changing. The Code of Conduct for Public Officers has a provision about what? Publication of assets. This is something that for 8 years, Akufo-Addo was dodging. So the Ghana today is different. Oh. And look at the election results, etc. So we've moved on. As a society, we are making progress. So for me, I think it's within. The naming of the persons of interest has not breached any law. He's just provided information. He says they are persons of interest. They are not suspects. Dr. Kwabena Donkor and the rest are not suspects at this stage. He says persons of interest. It's okay.
Right. Counsel, thank you for this. And also joining us is Vitus Azim, is an anti-corruption crusader, is joining us as well. Azim, appreciate your time.
We ain't sama kudu tim ko so e wo channel so. Mami ena wa so jemre da sene so ba din dia dumbi unia e be san asom.